What's up, everybody? This is Whiskey in the 6. I'm Rob. The 6 being Toronto, because that's where I'm from. This month I'm focusing on American whiskey and all of its subgenres like bourbon, Tennessee whiskey, and straight rye. Today, what I'll be doing is talking about what I believe is the best everyday whiskey, everyday American bourbon, or also ideal for the beginner. We're going to start over here with Jim Beam Black. A very nice light whiskey, very affordable. It's one of those whiskeys that I enjoy, and I think it's one of those things that you can get a little bit bored of pretty quick. So I wouldn't recommend this being the absolute everyday whiskey. Definitely something that a beginner would want to look at and then move past eventually. That brings me to its relative, Booker's. Now, Booker's is hard to get. It's becoming more and more expensive, which kind of takes it out of the everyday and beginner category. Not to mention, it is a barrel-proof whiskey, which makes it very difficult for a beginner to start with. We're going to move on over here to Maker's Mark. This is one of the whiskeys that a lot of people recommend as a first bourbon to try. Very nice whiskey, some nice subtle cherry notes in it. I will be reviewing this shortly, but also leaves you wanting a little bit more, in my opinion. Elijah Craig is one of those whiskeys that I would have recommended for the everyday bourbon drinker or a beginner to bourbon not that long ago. But the problem with Elijah Craig 12-year-old is it is not going to be made anymore, or at least for a very long time. So it is no longer considered an everyday bourbon because it is moving into the category of the Weller 12s and the Van Winkle 12s, where it's difficult to come by. Alright, so for that reason, unfortunately, I cannot call that my best and favorite everyday bourbon. We got Wild Turkey Rare Breed. Again, an excellent purchase. It's very well priced in the United States. It's reasonably priced in Canada. Problem with this one is it's 58.4%, which makes it very hot for a beginner whiskey drinker. An everyday whiskey drinker might also show some liver trouble signs, in my opinion, if they continue to drink this on a regular basis. So as far as barrel proofs, I'm not going to choose a barrel proof to be an everyday whiskey just because I feel that they're more of a treat. They're sweet, they're more like a dessert. Really nice whiskey, but you can't really afford that on the liver in particular. Not this one on the wallet, but the liver. Alright. Maker's 46. This is a very nice whiskey as well. I do feel that the sweetness is not as dominant as in other whiskeys, and for a beginner that might deter them. I wouldn't recommend this as a first whiskey to try for a beginner just for that reason. It's more of an experienced bourbon drinker drink, in my opinion. 1792, a very nice whiskey. The only problem is it takes a long while to get to that. You have to take a few drinks out of this bottle and leave it open for a long while to get it to where you want it to be. In the beginning, I found it quite hot for only 46.85%. Wild Turkey Rye, this one's a basic one. It's 40.5%, very affordable, but more of a mixer in my opinion. Four Rose is another barrel proof. You can get the single barrel at 50%. That's a reasonable price. It's actually very affordable. My only issue with that one is at 50%, it might still be a bit too hot for a beginner. Very nice whiskey. It's got a lot of rye spiciness to it, and that also might deter a beginner. So for an everyday whiskey drammer, I wouldn't say that's the one. Moving towards the two I have in the center here, not considered bourbons because they're Tennessee whiskey, and Tennessee whiskey needs to be filtered through charcoal, okay? In particular, maple charcoal. That's what Jack Daniels uses. I have the Select here, the single barrel Select, and the single barrel proof. Now, the single barrel proof I've had an opportunity to try recently. It is incredible stuff. I will do special reviews on both of these whiskeys, but this is becoming very quickly my favorite, and I only have had a couple drams out of this bottle. The Single Barrel Select is the whiskey that I would choose for the everyday drammer and the beginner whiskey drinker. And the reason for that is it's 47%, it's pretty affordable, it's a decent price at the LCBO at $55. In the United States you can get it for much cheaper than that, and it's an awesome whiskey. It's, if you're a sweet tooth, if you have a sweet tooth, if you like banana desserts and that sort of thing, this is the one for you. Strong smell of banana. I will be doing a review, so I don't want to go too much into detail about this particular one. I'll give you a look at the bottle. All right. Super nice bottle, super nice smelling, and incredibly tasting. It's one of my favorite everyday drinks for sure, and I think it will be yours too. That's about it, guys. I'm going to be continuing with American Whiskey and Bourbon Month for the rest of this month. Today is about the halfway point of the month, and I figured I'd throw an everyday and beginner bourbon video for you guys, especially if you're new to this channel, so that you can kind of get an idea of what I've been drinking lately. There's much more than just this that I've been trying. I've also got a review coming out on Stag Junior, on Willet, on Jack Daniel's Rye, and a bunch of others. I'm not going to go through them all now, but you guys can stay tuned and check that out. You might want to subscribe so that you get the updates. Also, I have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You guys can check those out as well. Instagram, just type in Whiskey in the Six on any of those three actually, and you'll find me. And I will be mass producing these t-shirts very shortly. A lot of people have been asking about them, so they will be coming out shortly. I'm trying to get the best price possible so that I can keep it around $20 Canadian to sell. I also have hats for sale. If you want to check out my Instagram, you can check out what those guys look like. Okay, that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Cheers.